Do you think you're really free? Stop and think hard before you answer. You wake up and grab your phone, scrolling through the screen, looking for something new, something to distract you. Then maybe a coffee, a quick hit of dopamine from a short video, or a song to shake off the boredom. On your way to work or school, you take in more stimuli, podcasts, social media, constant notifications. And when you finally get a moment of silence, what happens? A discomfort creeps in, an emptiness that pushes you to chase another distraction, another instant pleasure. The problem isn't pleasure itself. Pleasure is a natural part of the human mind, an evolutionary tool that drives us to seek what keeps us alive. But what happens when pleasure becomes the prison? When the need to feel good all the time traps you in an endless cycle of quick gratification? Aldous Huxley saw this coming nearly a century ago. While George Orwell warned of a future of brutal control in 1984, Huxley had a scarier vision. A world where people wouldn't need to be forced to obey because they'd be so entertained, so overwhelmed with pleasurable stimuli, they'd never think of rebelling. A world where slavery didn't need chains, where people would love their servitude. Look around you. What do you see? A society hooked on entertainment, chasing pleasure without limits, seeking fast relief from any discomfort. But what's the cost of this? Is this constant chase for instant happiness really freeing you? Or is it keeping you trapped? In this video, we'll explore how modern society conditions us to seek pleasure as a way to control us, and why this dependency might be turning you into something you never imagined, a voluntary slave. If you think you're in control of your own mind, keep watching, because you might just find out you never were. The perfect slavery doesn't need chains. It doesn't require torture, threats, or constant watching. It only needs something simple but deadly: pleasure. When pleasure becomes the center of your life, servitude disguises itself as freedom. This is exactly what Huxley predicted in Brave New World. Imagine a world where people don't question anything because they're always distracted, where the search for meaning is replaced by cheap distractions, where pleasure isn't a choice but a requirement. In Huxley's dystopia, people were conditioned from birth to avoid anything that caused discomfort. Whenever a negative feeling came up, an unease, an existential doubt, the solution was right there: a dose of soma, the perfect drug that kept everyone numb and docile. But is this world just fiction? Think about your own life. When you feel boredom, sadness, or frustration, what do? Do you stop to understand that feeling? Or do you instantly look for a distraction? Social media, TV shows, food, alcohol, shopping, sex, games, the list goes on. We live in an age of instant gratification, where any discomfort can be smothered in seconds with a tap on a screen. You never have to face the emptiness, just fill it with another dose of pleasure. And the most dangerous part? It feels like your choice. No one's forcing you to consume entertainment all day. No one's making you spend hours on Instagram or TikTok. No one's pointing a gun at you saying, "Why, buy this, eat that, keep scrolling." But if it's a choice, why is it so hard to stop? The answer is conditioning. When you get used to seeking quick pleasure to escape any discomfort, your brain learns this is the only solution. Over time, you lose the ability to deal with boredom, silence, or self-reflection. Your mind can't handle being alone with itself. Without realizing it, you become what Huxley warned about: a happy servant, imprisoned not by force but by pleasure. But why does this happen? How does conditioning teach us to avoid critical thinking and keep us stuck in this addictive cycle? That's what we'll explore in the next part. If this is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and join the channel. Thanks for your support. Have you ever wondered why it's so hard to stop? Why, even when you know you should focus on something productive, your hand automatically reaches for your phone, your brain begs for a new notification, a new video, a new stimulus. This doesn't happen by accident. You've been trained for it. From the moment we're born, we're taught to avoid discomfort at all costs. The education system doesn't teach us to think critically, but to repeat information. The job market programs us to produce, not to reflect. And the culture of entertainment gives us constant distractions, so we never stop to question the world around us. All this creates a society where the real threat isn't a government banning free speech, but a system that makes us lose interest in seeking it. Huxley understood this better than anyone. In Brave New World, citizens didn't need to be brutally controlled. They were taught to love their slavery. From childhood, they were subjected to hypnopedia, messages repeated during sleep to shape their beliefs without them knowing. Phrases like, "everyone belongs to everyone," or "a gram of soma solves everything" were burned into their minds to ensure they never questioned anything. They grew up believing happiness meant conforming, avoiding deep thought, and running from any hint of suffering. Now think about our world. Today's conditioning doesn't use hypnopedia, but social media algorithms, corporate marketing, and a flood of stimuli that shape your behavior without you noticing. Every notification gives you a dopamine hit. Every short video delivers information effortlessly, so you get used to not thinking for yourself. Every time you're rewarded for going along, through likes, social approval, or quick pleasures, you reinforce the idea that this is the right path. The result? A generation of people who can't be alone with their thoughts, who can't handle discomfort, who can't question the system because they've lost the habit of thinking critically. In the end, you don't need a dictatorship to control people when they reject any idea that requires mental effort. But this rejection has a price. When we avoid discomfort at all costs, we become more fragile, more manipulable, more vulnerable. Constant pleasure weakens us, and fake happiness can turn us into passive beings. But how does this happen? How can the promise of a world without pain lead us to complete submission? That's what we'll explore in the next part. Imagine a world where no one suffers, where all pain is quickly erased, where sadness, frustration, or anxiety don't exist. Sounds like paradise, right? But look closer. What happens to someone who never faces difficulties? What happens to a society programmed to avoid all discomfort? The answer is simple. It becomes weak. Huxley saw this trap clearly. In Brave New World, happiness was guaranteed by constant doses of soma, a drug with no side effects, just instant pleasure. But what did this happiness mean? It meant no one knew how to deal with pain, frustration, or even their own thoughts. Any uncomfortable feeling was dissolved in a chemical dose of comfort. Life was an endless stream of shallow pleasures, sex, entertainment, consumption, and anything that broke this pattern was seen as a threat. Now look at our world. We may not have soma, but we have our own versions. Social media that offers instant validation, dating apps that remove the fear of rejection, algorithms that give us exactly what we want before we even know we want it. Everything is designed to eliminate discomfort, gaps, or effort. But this constant escape from pain comes at a cost, our mental strength. The hard truth is that pain has a purpose. Suffering builds resilience. Frustration teaches us to grow. Difficulty forces us to evolve. But when everything is softened, when all challenges are avoided, we become fragile. Today, any discomfort feels unbearable. Small failures become huge crises. Minor conflicts seem like disasters. Anything that takes patience or effort is tossed aside because we're conditioned to seek the easiest path, the quick pleasure, the fast solution. This makes us easier to control. A society of strong, resilient people who accept discomfort and learn from it will never be obedient, but a society of emotionally dependent people who need constant stimuli to avoid emptiness. That society will follow orders. It will be manipulable. It will be the perfect society for those who want power without using force. That's how the trap closes. What seems like freedom, the ability to avoid all suffering, becomes our prison. But there's a way out. To escape this cycle, we need to understand the difference between pleasure and purpose. That's what we'll explore in the next part. What are you really seeking in life? Happiness or meaning, pleasure or purpose? The answer might seem clear, but have you truly stopped to think about it? Modern society has trained us to believe happiness is the ultimate goal. But what does it offer as happiness? An endless string of short-lived pleasures, likes on social media, impulse shopping, casual sex, binge-watching shows, junk food that gives a quick spike of pleasure and then leaves us empty. These keep us satisfied for a moment, but never for long. That's the key problem. Pleasure is always temporary. It needs to be constantly renewed, or the emptiness comes back. Now think about the moments that truly shaped who you are. Were they moments of instant pleasure, or moments of challenge, effort, and overcoming? Viktor Frankl, a psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor, wrote in Man's Search for Meaning that people can't live without purpose. He saw that even in the worst situations, those who found a deeper meaning in their lives were the ones who survived and stayed sane. Here's the paradox. Chasing constant pleasure weakens us, while chasing purpose strengthens us. Pleasure is easy, instant and addictive. Purpose takes effort, discipline, and resilience. But unlike pleasure, purpose doesn't disappear when the effect wears off. It builds something inside you. It gives you a reason to keep going. But society doesn't want you to seek purpose. Purpose takes time. It requires self-reflection, effort, and the ability to handle suffering. That goes against the logic of instant consumption. Someone with purpose doesn't need constant distractions. They don't feel the need to fill every second with shallow entertainment. They're not easily manipulated by false promises of quick happiness. That's why we're constantly hit with stimuli that pull us away from this search. A person with purpose is dangerous to a system that thrives on our emotional dependence. So if you feel something's missing in your life, maybe the answer isn't more pleasure but less. Maybe the path isn't to seek more distractions but to cut them out. Ask yourself, what truly moves you? What makes you get out of bed? Are you living off temporary pleasures, or are you building something that matters? That's what we'll explore in the next part. Now that you understand how chasing pleasure keeps you trapped, the big question is, how do you break free? How do you take back control of your mind in a world that does everything to keep you distracted, doped, and emotionally dependent? First, understand this isn't an easy fight. The system is designed for you to fail. It wants you to keep seeking quick pleasures, feeding algorithms with your attention, consuming endlessly. But there's a way out, and it starts with choosing to see the game being played against you. The first step is cutting back on pleasure on purpose. This doesn't mean you have to give up all fun, but you need to control your exposure to addictive stimuli. The problem isn't pleasure, It's how it's used to control you. When you reduce certain pleasures, like social media, junk food, or non-stop entertainment, something happens. Your brain starts to reset. It begins to find satisfaction in small things again, and the desperate need for artificial stimuli gets weaker. The second step is rebuilding your ability to handle discomfort. If you want to take back your freedom, you need to relearn how to deal with boredom, frustration, and the lack of constant stimuli. This means sitting in silence, disconnecting from the flood of information, and just being without needing to fill every moment with distractions. At first, it's hard. Your brain, used to constant dopamine hits, will demand more, but if you push through, you'll see something powerful. Discomfort doesn't kill you. It makes you stronger. The third step is building critical thinking. Ask yourself, why do I feel this need to distract myself all the time? Who benefits from my addiction to pleasure? What could I be doing if I weren't stuck in this cycle? The more you question, the more you'll realize a lot of your habits and desires weren't chosen by you. They were programmed by the system. Only those who ask these questions can start to change their own path. The fourth step, the most important, is replacing pleasure with purpose. As we talked about, the search for meaning is the real antidote to the slavery of instant pleasure. So ask, what really matters to me? What do I want to build? How can I make my life more meaningful? These are tough questions, but they're the only ones that matter. But there's a problem. Even if you start to break free, the society around you is still caught in this cycle. And when you decide to change, something happens. People start to see you differently. Some will admire you. Others will push back. That's what we'll explore in the final part. If you've made it this far, something inside you is starting to wake up. You've realized that chasing pleasure isn't freedom. It's a cycle of conditioning that keeps you trapped. You see that society doesn't need to chain you to control you. It just needs to make you scared of discomfort. But now that you know the trap, what will you do with this knowledge? The truth is, escaping this system takes more than just willpower. It means going against the flow, rejecting the easy path, and accepting that real freedom often comes with loneliness and resistance. When you stop distracting yourself, you start to see. And when you see, you realize many people around you are still blind. Some will admire you for this, others will reject you. Some will feel uncomfortable because when you free yourself, you become a mirror showing them what they don't want to see. They'll try to pull you back, telling you there's nothing wrong with this system, that life's meant to be enjoyed without overthinking. But now you know the truth. Pleasure without purpose is just another form of slavery, so the choice is yours. You can keep living like before, chasing the next dopamine hit, ignoring the growing emptiness inside you. Or you can take back control of your mind, build a purpose, and become someone who isn't easily manipulated. I want to know, what will you choose? Have you ever felt trapped in this cycle? Have you noticed how society uses pleasure to control us? Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Questioning is the first step to freedom. If this video has made you see the world differently, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Here, we don't go with the flow. We question, reflect, and seek the truths no one wants you to see. If you want to keep going on this journey of self-discovery and liberation, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications. This is just the beginning. See you in the next video.